Hey guys, it's Michelle. I don't think I've ever introduced myself like that, but for this video I feel like it's appropriate because what I'm going to be talking about is something that happened in my personal life and it's kind of like an update video. I hope that this video uplifts the people that have watched my previous video where I talked about my recovery and my surgery story, basically having my ovary, fallopian tube, and cyst removed when I had just turned 22. I had this procedure called unilateral salpingo-oophorectomy. As I just explained, it was the removal of my enlarged cyst, my ovary, and my fallopian tube from the left side of my body. Like I said, it happened a year ago. I had just turned 22. My birthday is November 4th. I had the surgery on November 13th. If you guys want to watch that video, I'll leave a card right up here and a link in the description box of this video if you want to watch that first. I don't know, I just wanted to give this update and share my thoughts, how I feel right now after it's been a year since I had the surgery. I am now 23. I just turned 23 like 2 days ago. I will be posting this on the anniversary of my surgery though. Whenever I go back and I watch that video that I made, I can still hear and feel how sad I was, even though everything was a lot better at that point. But it had just been like a month after I had the surgery and I wasn't completely sure how everything would work out later on. Now that it's been a year, I know that things did really get better for me. I mean, even before I had the surgery, I was already starting to have regular periods, but obviously the cyst was still a problem. It was getting worse because it was getting so big and it was feeling very uncomfortable and at times a bit painful. But now I have my period every month, except for like 1 month, I think, that I missed my period. I think it was because I was starting to exercise, but I don't really think about the fact that I only have one ovary anymore. I said in the video that I had this feeling of grief after surgery and I was feeling really sad and I was crying a lot. I don't think I have that anymore. Like, I don't think that I feel as horrible about it because I feel like it gave me so much more. Like, having the surgery, it gave me back things that I didn't have before. It gave me back this hope and this mobility that I didn't have. I mean, I'm not saying that the surgery's for everyone. I don't know what you're going through. I'm not like saying that you have to have the surgery and blah blah blah. Like, this is just for me. This is what worked for me. I was always apprehensive about having the surgery before having it because I don't like surgery and I feel just really intimidated by it and really scared and really uncertain, and it messes with my head a lot. So I'm not like one of those persons that can just easily go through surgery and all that. Like, it takes me a while to get into that mindset that I'm gonna be okay even after the surgery. So yeah, I don't think about it as much. I feel like I'm still me. I feel like I had to think about what really defined me as a person and what defined me as a woman as well. Like, how I identify as a woman. Is it the fact that I only have one ovary that makes me feel less of a woman? Or is it the fact that I wasn't having regular periods that also made me feel like less of a woman? Or is it the fact that I have these hormonal problems? Like, for example, I sometimes get chin hairs. Am I less of a woman because I have all of these hormonal problems? I have one less ovary now. I really had to think about that for myself and I had to come to the realization all of that does not make me any less of who I thought I was before. And it makes me someone that just has those problems and has to deal with those problems. Everyone goes through things, and like, it's an idealistic image that we have of how we define womanhood and how we define this image of beauty and femininity. So I had to come to that realization. I think I'm still grappling with it. Another thing that struck me was just a few months ago, so this was like in September, I went over to this house and I was meeting all these new people. There was someone there that started talking about her hormonal problems. She's the same age as me. She was talking about having PCOS. She was talking about having irregular periods. She was feeling like she wasn't being seen. For some reason, even though I wasn't talking to her, I was completely silent during that conversation. She was talking to someone else, but we were all kind of listening to what she was saying. And my heart started beating so rapidly, even though she wasn't even talking to me and I wasn't talking to her. I was literally just listening. I was getting to that point where I couldn't breathe and I was like, I'm going to cry right now. And I don't know why. I just felt she was talking directly towards me and I was coming back to these feelings I had last year where I felt so scared and so alone. And then I started remembering all these problems I have, like all of these hormonal problems I have. I wouldn't have been able to actually say anything and be like, I know how you feel. I couldn't say how much I related because I was feeling so, I guess, triggered by it. And I realized that even though I could internally, like when I'm I'm by myself, I can say that I'm okay. In front of other people, I might not still be there yet, where I can openly talk about this. Even though I'm talking to you guys right now, I'm only talking to a camera, and I can comfortably put this online, but I still can't physically, in person, talk to someone about this. I just remember feeling so strong about it. I mean, especially if it's someone that I just met, I can talk about this with my parents or my sister in a much more comfortable sense. That was something that I realized recently, and I was like, oh, I'm still not over this. I feel certain things still about this, but I'm still okay. I'm not fully past it. Like, I still have problems. I still have to deal with them. I can lessen the effects of these problems that I have, but I don't know if they will ever go away. I know that currently right now I'm trying to be a better version of myself, and I'm trying to look after myself and have a better lifestyle. I think that right now for me is so comforting, and I feel better, and I feel like I can do so much more than I ever thought I could, especially when I had this issue with the cyst. I think that's my main takeaway. That's the main thing I wanted to tell you guys today. If you have this issue, if you're going through the surgery soon, I mean, I've read a lot of your comments. I've read every comment actually, like, what am I saying? I've read all of your comments from my last video where you tell your story, and a lot of your stories are very similar to what I went through. A lot of you were just as young as me. Some of you guys were a bit older, and you still related to my story, which is incredible. It's really such a beautiful thing that we can all connect and share and grieve together. That's one of the things that got me through this whole thing, was knowing that there were people out there that also experienced what I experienced. And even though physically I felt alone because no one around me in real life had gone through something like this, I knew that there were still people out there that had and that are going through it. It's just so important to connect with people like that, to uplift each other. And right now what I'm doing, telling you guys that it will be okay, and to talk to people, like even people that you don't think will be able to relate. Like I said, I talked to my mom and my dad and my sister, and they have helped me out so much. Like, I wouldn't have anyone else to talk to about this in real life. I know it's still going to be hard, but things will get better. It's really all about perspective and knowing what you will gain from it, knowing that you are so much stronger than you think you are. I promise you that you are, because I went through it and I didn't think I was strong enough to do it. Now I'm gonna cry. What the heck? But anyway, I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about was, this might be a bit more personal. I don't think I really talked about this in the previous video. Another thing that was hard for me when I was about to have the surgery and even afterward was coming to this realization that I'm almost I don't know, like, people at my age and younger and obviously older have kids, right? But I've never really been someone who has thought about having kids realistically, like actually thought about it. And marriage, I've never thought about my wedding day or anything like that. And I mean, there's other ways to just have kids. You don't have to marry to have kids. You don't have to have a partner to have kids. Like, there's, you know, all of that. But like, in the traditional sense, and in the way that society has taught us that we will all pair off and get married and have kids and all that, and that's what we're supposed to do. I haven't really planned my life that way. I haven't really planned my life overall. I know what I want to do as a career, but besides that, I don't really know where I'm going in life. Last year, when I had to confront this issue that I was having with my cyst and with the removal of my ovary, and thinking about whether or not I will eventually be able to have kids if I want to in the future, was really strange and really weird. It was really scary. I keep saying the word scary. Everything was scary. I mean, the appointment I had before my operation with my surgeon, my oncologist, she said that if I have this problem again, if I develop another cyst in my other ovary, then they would probably have to remove it. It depends on like the size and whether or not it's malignant or benign and everything like that. By the way, my cyst, the one that was removed, was all benign. It wasn't malignant, so it was a blessing. If this problem were to arise again, but on my right side, then I would have this thing called surgical menopause, and I am still very young to even go through menopause. And so I remember her saying that if that were the case, then I would have the option to freeze my eggs in case I wanted to have kids. And that statement, it's weird because when you're so young and when you still don't know what you want to do, whether or not you want to have kids, and then you're kind of not pushed because it hasn't happened to me yet, if it ever does, but you're kind of having to start to think about what you want and whether or not you have that option in the future. And that's all like very, I don't know, it's just really overwhelming, if that makes sense. It's really overwhelming to know you might have to come to that decision if you want to have kids, if you have the option to have kids. That was the other thing that I don't think I brought up in the other video, but that was something that I was also going through, where I was like, I have to think about this now, and I don't want to think about this because I don't know what I want. That was the other thing, where when I was thinking about what makes me a woman, my identity, I guess, and coming to terms with it while having all of these issues that I have, and then thinking about, will I be able to have kids? Like, does that make me less of a woman if I can have kids? And I know it doesn't. That thought just was really in my mind. And I know I shouldn't have thought of it like that, but I did. And now that I'm 23 and I'm closer to that stage where I should be thinking about having kids, I guess. I don't know, like, I still don't know. To wrap this all up, there's still a lot of things that I'm figuring out about myself. There's still a lot that I still have to learn and accept and deal with, but I still want to like encourage you guys to think of what you're going through as an opportunity to be strong and to be kind to yourself and to be patient and to be loving and to be grateful that you have the opportunity to relive and to be yourself again, if that makes sense. That's mainly what I took from it. And I remember my mom, before I had the surgery and I was going through it all, she said, in a year, this will all be in the past. And it really feels like that. Everything we go through is for the most part momentary. Even though there's still a lot to learn and a lot to deal with, that part of my life I can close the chapter on and move on from and just better myself. Trying to be patient with myself, my body, how it changes, how it reacts to certain things, and all that is what I have to do now. And I'm learning every day about myself and trying to be the best version of myself that I can. And so that's the main takeaway from this video, I hope. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any thoughts. If you would like to share your experience of your surgery story or anything like that, you don't have to. If you would like to message me privately to discuss it, I have Instagram and I have Twitter. They will appear on the screen right now. If I can give any advice, then I would be happy to do that. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so please don't ask me for doctor advice. But a lot of people have reached out to me privately to discuss their story, and it has really meant a lot to me. Even now that it's been a year, I still get people that reach out to me, and it really means a lot to me. So I hope I've been helpful, and I hope I can continue to be helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in a new video. Bye. Mwah.